do this. Welcome to Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, the big, butch, manly movie podcast that loves a big lizard. I'm Shane Holland.
I'm Andrew Wheeler.
Today, we are talking about the newest Jurassic Park film, Jurassic World Rebirth. It was directed by Gareth Edwards from a script by David Cope, based on characters from Michael Crichton, created by, I guess those characters being dinosaurs? I don't know.
Dinosaurs? Yeah.
It stars Scarlett Johansson, Jonathan Bailey, Mahershala Ali, Rupert Friend, Manuel Garcia Rulfo, and several dinosaurs. This
Real
is
and imaginary.
Yes, mostly imaginary.
Yeah.
It's the 7th Jurassic Park movie. It's the 4th Jurassic World movie. Can you believe that? It's the first franchise entry by original screenwriter Cope since Lost World.
Big deal.
It's a big deal, and boy, did it feel very akin to that very poppy movie. So,
True.
What happens in it? A handsome scientist and some other people go to an island to collect specimens for a cure to heart disease. Meanwhile, a handsome dad and some other people get trapped on the same island. Dinosaurs ensue.
Classic.
An
So we are
absolute
recording
classic.
this episode the day after we saw this movie. We saw this movie together. Isn't it nice to do a new movie once in a while? Just to,
Yeah.
we love old movies. And by old, we mean anything from
Ancient.
as old ago as 2022. But yeah, occasionally it's nice to go and see a movie in the theaters. And honestly, this felt like a really good movie to see in the theater. Like, I'm not part of any PR campaign, but because I saw the reviews and the reviews were a bit lukewarm, and so I sort of adjusted my expectations down a little bit. But then maybe it was because we were seeing it together with a whole gaggle of friends. But it was such a thrill. Like, it was such a fun experience to watch that movie with an audience on the big screen. In 3D, I mean, I didn't love that so much, but no, I had such a good time. And it's like, it was a reminder of what it feels like to go to the movie theater and be thrilled by a movie.
Nicole Kidman just got a chill down her spine. Yeah, it was honestly, I mean, I love sitting next to you during a movie because, I mean, we have very similar tastes or we wouldn't be here today. And I feel like we both gasped and guffawed at the same times. Me particularly so. This movie had a lot of heights, and I am not a fan of heights. In fact, I thought the heights were scarier than the dinosaurs. It was so fun. And yeah, I agree. I don't know what the critics are talking about. Did they expect this to be some kind of art house movie? Because I think they're going to see the wrong franchise at this point. This was just a thrill. It's a movie made to be seen on the big screen with a group of people, hearing the audience react. It's the Jurassic Park franchise are basically horror films for children. That's kind of my theory. And it works. That. It really works.
Yeah, I have seen almost all of the Jurassic Park movies in the theater. I think I skipped Dominion, which was the most recent one before this. I don't remember why. Maybe I was still phobic about theaters. But I saw the first. Well, yes, Chris Pratt was well past the sort of acceptable deniability phase of his career. Like, when he was in the first one, it was like, yeah, Chris Pratt's hot and I like him. By the third one of the Chris Pratt movies, it was like, he's a Schwarzenegger by marriage. And yeah, it's all a bit much. I don't think he likes me, so why should I like him?
He tolerates us with all his heart, Andrew.
As a good Christian should. I saw the first Jurassic Park in theaters as a child. With family. I think I went with my mum and my dad and my aunt and maybe a sibling or two. And I remember coming out of the theater and imagining that I would see dinosaurs around every corner. Like, it rewrote my sense of reality. And for a week afterwards, I was like, are there dinosaurs? Are they real? Are they back? It was such an important movie and such a, does it hold up? It holds up as a movie. The effects still pretty good. Still pretty solid in the original Jurassic.
Honestly, I loved this movie, but they hold up better than this film.
Yeah, there's something about the puppets that is better than the CG.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the first one, it has a special place in my heart, but it has a special place in everyone's heart. that is alive today. It's like, it's just an epochal unifying movie. And the franchise since then has just been sort of like, well, it's never going to, like, it already redefined the culture. You can't do that again.
Mm-hmm.
So it just is like paying service to that, and choices are made along the way. And in the Jurassic World era, the Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard movies, yeah, it lost my interest enough that I actually finally didn't go to the theater to see one of the movies. And I thought Colin Trevorrow there was something weird about his storytelling choices. We'll get into that a bit more, I think, when we talk about the women of this movie.
Will.
But yeah, I think those movies are always going to deliver something great, and that something great is usually people being eaten by dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's what I pay the ticket price for.
Yeah.
I also saw Jurassic Park at a very young age. I was 7 when the first one came out, so I don't think I went and saw it in the theater. I think that would be considered child abuse. But I also, I know that I grew up with dinosaurs, right? Like I bought the dinosaur magazine and built like the dinosaur skeletons that came with the magazine. I was obsessed with dinosaurs. So I know I saw this at a young age. And I mean, I could watch that first movie anytime. It is just one of the greatest action films. I don't know how else to say it. It is just such a pure, fun, almost art house film about giant man-eating lizards. And yeah, we strayed a bit after that. They all just became pure pop. And especially the Jurassic World franchise. It's like you said, it just tried to capture the magic because it just can't reinvent the wheel more than it already has. I don't think I saw the last one, Dominion, at all. I still haven't seen it. And I don't care. I don't really care. Nothing about any of it really intrigues me, but this one I was excited to see. I love what Scarlett Johansson is doing with her career, where she's just having fun. Like she's just doing what she wants to because she can. She has enough money. She's been so popular and so successful that she can make movies for her kids, which is what every old male actor seems to do. And she's like, no, I can do that too. So hats off to you, ScarJo, for getting it. And also,
honestly,
Jonny Bailey.
ScarJo is, she has said that she sort of lobbied for the role. She loves the franchise and she wanted to be in the movie. And it's like, great, no one's going to say no to Scarlett Johansson wanting to be in a Jurassic Park movie. And yeah, she's great. Like, she's really clearly enjoying herself and throwing herself into it. And she's a perfect, like, anti-dinosaur heroine, or, dinosaur peril heroine, shall we say. I don't think she's anti-dinosaur. I could watch a trilogy of Scarlett Johansson versus dinosaurs, and she feels like such a necessary response to the Bryce Dallas Howard period, which again, not to hate on Bryce Dallas Howard. We love Bryce Dallas Howard. We loved her in Argyle, even though the movie is bad. We loved her in Nosedive, on Black Mirror. Well, I did. You don't watch Black Mirror.
I've seen that episode, and it's an incredible episode.
She's still great. Chris Pratt, not so much. But yeah, her character was frustrating, to say the least. Scarlett Johansson gets to do the things that the heroes get to do in these movies. Yeah, it's really fun cinema with a really strong cast and really good like stunt sequences, action sequences. Just really enjoyable from beginning to end. Thank you for pointing out, by the way, that you were a child when you saw Jurassic Park, which means I had to have been a teenager.
I'm so sorry.
Noted.
I'm so sorry. Look, it's the fact, Andrew. I cannot hide my age. Someone actually on the street the other day was like, I just celebrated my 40th birthday. And I was like, oh my God, that's going to be me next year. And she was like, what? I thought you were 29. And I died. I went to heaven. Obviously, I'm a baby.
Don't spank me, Daddy. Sorry. Such a left field turn.
Shall we talk about, we've already started, but let's continue talking about our first reactions to this film.
Yes. Oh, I think we're well into first reactions.
Yeah. So many thrills. I mean, look, the boat chase, the T-Rex river chase, the cliff-rappelling Quetzalcoatlus chase, the D-Rex finale chase, all of the chases were so well done, so twisty and turny, but really streamlined pieces of action that felt like fresh somehow and exciting, even though I think we've seen all of this done in all of these films 1,000 times. This felt like, I don't know, it felt like a different kind of take. The action felt present.
Yeah, like Rubber Raft versus T-Rex isn't necessarily fresh. Like there was something like the fact that they were on this really pathetic device on a slow-moving river, and it's like, how do we get away from a T-Rex? Like, it was really exciting. It was really tense. You know, with like 99% certainty who is going to die and who is going to live in a Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah.
And this was not a movie that had like the crowds of people to serve as just red shirts,
T-Rex
essentially.
Yeah.
So you had a pretty clear idea that like, well, these people have to die, and most of this cast is going to be fine, actually. But it doesn't make the peril any less. Like, we'll try to avoid real serious spoilers here because the movie is so new. But yeah, like, you knew that kid was not going to die in that sequence. Does she die later? I could never tell. With the bit where the dinosaur's like biting down on the raft, they're not going to kill a kid like that.
No. Didn't in the Lost World, they did kill a kid in the first scene. I just mentioned that to one of our friends last night, and he was shocked. But I was like, no, that happened.
I don't remember it, but I'm sure you're right. More children should be eaten by dinosaurs, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like all Jurassic Park films, this feature too many precocious, annoying, or lazy children. But also, if not for them, what are the stakes of this film?
Right. You have to kind of want some people to die.
Yeah.
That's my feeling. And they're not all going to, unfortunately. But yes, the action scenes, I think, are going to be rewatchable. Like, I think this movie is going to be very rewatchable in a way that the Pratt Howard movies aren't. Like, I've never gone back to watch those again, I think, because I just found them a bit frustrating. Obviously, this has a couple of advantages that other movies don't have that would compel me to go back and watch it again.
Jonny Bailey's slutty little glasses. But yeah, I think the cliff sequence was so good. The opening, or not opening, but the boat set piece where we first meet this family, so exciting and tense. And yeah, the movie is full of those moments. Like, it was a roller coaster ride of a movie, because I was like, in the same way that when I'm on a really good roller coaster, I'm torn between gasping and giggling. That was this movie experience for me. I spent a lot of the movie going, and kept realizing, why I'm biting on my knuckle. This is weird. I don't do this. Who am I? What is this movie making me?
What has Jonny Bailey done to me?
There were so many dinosaurs that actually existed that were genuinely terrifying. Why do we have to create fictional ones? Am I wrong?
No, it's you're absolutely right. It's frustrating. I mean, there were only a couple, I think, in this movie. The Distortus Rex being the wildest one, and the Mutodon, which is the mutated Pteranodon, which I guess, and that's basically all the third act dinosaurs, sort of made up ones. And while they're interesting monsters, they're less interesting in a movie about dinosaurs, because up until that point, every dinosaur peril scene had been a real dinosaur. Like, a T-Rex is still a T-Rex. I don't need an Indominus Rex or a Distortus Rex.
No.
I just need a T-Rex. I don't need it to be bigger than a T-Rex, because it's going to be bigger than a person, and that's that's the scale that matters to me. You know, for all that, having a dinosaur, say, pluck a helicopter out of the sky, if that were a thing that might happen, is like shocking and surprising and brilliant. I don't need it. I'm fine without it. In fact, I would rather just have the dinosaurs that existed.
Yeah, it doesn't need extra teeth or extra arms to cause damage on an unimaginable scale or to rip me in half. It was doing just fine. Was this the second worst Snickers accident in the history of cinema after Caddyshack?
Now, I don't know Caddyshack very well, so I'll have to defer to you on that. I only saw Caddyshack as an adult, which is not when you should see that movie, because as an adult, it's awful.
It's shite. Well, speaking of shite, I mean, that was the accident in Caddyshack. But yes, actually, I guess maybe this could top that, because actual human lives were lost.
Yeah. And they had to shut down a whole facility. And yeah, that was such a weird... I mean, does Snickers pay to be in this movie? Or did someone else pay for Snickers to be in this movie?
You have to imagine that they paid to be in this movie. And you have to imagine that there was a board meeting where someone said, oh, not like that. But it was too late.
Yeah. You're not you when you're hungry. So yeah, it was...
Oh my God.
It was very weird product placement.
I mean, that's the commercial, though. A T-Rex turning into what's it called?
Distortus Rex.
Rex. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going to get
Dumb.
that name. Let's just call it the D-Rex. Also, a D-Rex, I mean, know your audience. There's a bunch of Jonny Bailey fans in the theater, and we know what D-Rex we want to see.
Oh, absolutely. Rex me with that D.
Anything else in your first impressions?
I think I'm ready to move on to the ladies.
Let's talk about the women. The woman...
I mean,
ScarJo is basically the only woman. There is a doomed Lori Petty clone played by Philippine Velga, whose name I can't remember in the movie. I want to say Nina.
Yes, Nina.
Okay, great.
And there are 2 female children who count as women.
Yes, they do. So Nina, I would have been happy if we could have strung along a little bit longer. There was a chunk between the first and second act where there was no death, and that would have been the perfect opportunity. I don't know. God, I feel icky saying that. I just want to put it out there that is not who I am as a person.
You want more women to die?
God, no. The incel movies came before this.
Yeah.
Zora, ScarJo's character, is a badass with a tragic question mark backstory, but she essentially gets to be Lara Croft in this film.
Yeah.
And it was so cool seeing a strong female team leader who's smarter and more equipped and more badass than all of her male counterparts. Yeah. I don't think that's happened in a Jurassic Park, and we still rarely see that happen in action films, period.
Yeah. I think that's right. Yeah. Zora is like, there's never any question of who is the most competent person. Like, there's one little scene with her and Henry Loomis, played by Jonathan Bailey, I think the actor's name is.
Checks notes. Yes. Yeah.
Where she has to, she big dogs him. He folds real quick, and that's it for the rest of the movie. Jurassic Park movies have had the muscle character pretty consistently. So Bob Peck as Muldoon in the first one, Pete Postlethwaite as Tembo in the second one. I think there's just a bunch of mercenaries in the third one. I don't think there's a lead mercenary in those.
Correct.
And of course, they all tend to die. That's their role, is to die. The second trilogy has Chris Pratt's Owen Grady as kind of the hyper competent guy, even though he's a scientist. He's also a man.
He's a scientist?
Yeah, he's an ethnologist. I don't even know what that means, but he's a scientist who,
no, he is.
So yeah, Chris Pratt is an ethnologist. No, I don't know. I don't know what kind of scientist, but he's the type of scientist that trains raptors to respond to his commands.
It's a good film.
So yeah, this is the first time a woman gets to be the one in the safari shorts and the spiritual safari hat, even though there is no actual safari hat. And yeah, ScarJo is perfect because she's been Black Widow for years. We've been convinced by her as an action lead for a long time, and she's very comfortable playing this role. The other women, yes, Nina the Butch, her main arc is to die, and is it progress to have a sort of butch lady die in a Jurassic Park movie? Maybe. I guess it hasn't happened before.
It happened in Alien in 1979.
Yes.
And that's essentially what these films are.
Yeah, it is. And then, we have the two daughters of the sexy daddy, Teresa, whose arc is being disappointed by men, and Isabella, the child whose arc is being traumatized and finding merchandise for the franchise.
Okay, I was going to say, Isabella Delgado, played by Audrina Miranda, might be the most important person in the Jurassic Park franchise because she manages to tame a baby dinosaur in 2 days, which has got to be zoologically important somehow.
Right? All you needed was Twizzlers.
Yeah.
It's done.
It's done. You'll have anything eating out of the palm of your hand.
Twizzlers look a bit like strands of DNA when you think about it. So,
well, that's the tie-in. I get it.
Yeah.
Tie, just like a Twizzler. Yeah, I felt bad for Luna Blaze's Teresa, who has a shitty boyfriend. And that's all. She doesn't contribute.
No.
She's not even a damsel in distress because she's too haughty to be in distress.
True. But she is almost murdered by the team bad guy. That's her kind of, that is her significant arc, I think. Xavier's arc is really between him and the dad, the boyfriend and the dad. They have a tension that is not homoerotic, sadly. And so she's sort of incidental in the tension between those two men. But where she does have a story is that she has this antipathy towards this guy who tries to kill her.
Yeah, at best.
But even that doesn't feel like the most active, agentic role in the narrative, shall we say. So yeah, she is a bit of an afterthought. It really does just come down to ScarJo in terms of like great, strong female characters in this movie. But considering we've not had that, Ellie Statler is great. Julianne Moore's character, I think, was good, but I don't remember that movie very well. Tia Leone's
She's a mom
character,
searching for her son, but right? Oh no,
Right.
that's the second one.
No, that's Tia Leone's
the
character.
third. Yes.
And she was kind of nasty, I think, as I recall.
Yes.
And then Bryce Dallas Howard, severe Bob, running in heels. She's a real damsel in distress and also a real like love interest character. Like she's serving such a throwback. When you compare her to like Ellie Statler, when you compare her to the scientists from the first two movies, yeah, she's really retrograde as a character. So this does feel like a huge, even to call it a huge leap forward feels reductive, honestly. It's like, oh, we're back to where we should have been already.
Yeah, we're back to like the early 2000s. But I'll take it. Honestly, we're so starved of that kind of content for women that it did feel refreshing. And while that is sad, it's still great to see. It still feels uplifting in a way. Like maybe things aren't all bad in this world. I don't know. That's a really dark take on it. But the fact that we can have a female action star in a movie franchise as big as this, to kind of wash the taste out of our mouth after the last 12 years of absolute utter nonsense, that felt good.
And also even like her storyline was about like trying to find purpose, and it wasn't about her like wanting to be a mother or losing a child. Like there is a dead child off camera in this movie and it's not hers, thank goodness. She has the dead ex, the dead boyfriend or something, but she doesn't have a dead child. Ursula gets to play that trope. And so yeah, her thing is about like her relationships with her friends and about her search for meaning in her life through something other than, never even implied that it's about family or relationships. She actually wants to do something profound.
This movie is a bit deeper than I thought it was. That's
oh my god.
And no wonder it's getting review bombed by you effing incels out there who hate to see women in power.
Oh dear.
Speaking of, let's talk about The Boys.
Yay! Let's objectify some men.
Yay! Okay, so I think if you can't already tell, we have strong feelings about Jonathan Bailey in this house. Him and his slutty little glasses are the stars of this film, without a doubt.
Adore Jonathan Bailey. Love that he is proving his worth as a movie star, like as an unashamed gay man who has been now in, basically will be in 3 of the biggest movies of a 13-month period. Every 6 months we get a Jonny Bailey blockbuster, and I hope that continues forever.
Yeah.
But there are other
for
boys
some reason
in this movie.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, for some reason, he doesn't lose his shirt or pants once.
Not once.
Which is a crime.
Like,
not once.
You know he's tight under that wet clothing. He's wet so often in this movie and never peels anything off.
No. It's like this movie was made for children. I did find it interesting and great that he isn't some kind of romantic interest to anyone when he's also the hottest person that anyone has ever seen in this world. That he's the Laura Dern of this film, and it doesn't feel wrong. I mean, basically all of the roles in this film are gender swapped from the traditional narrative we see in these films and films like it. And we especially see that, as you've already said, with Mahershala Ali, who is playing the grieving father who is trying to find some redemption in his mercenary way of life by putting the Delgado children first, something that he didn't do for his own child that he regrets. That is like, I mean, that's the plot of Gravity. Name a woman who's lost a child in a film, and that is her arc. And this is Mahershala Ali.
Name a woman was hard enough. Name a woman who's lost a child in a film. I don't think Angela
there's
Merkel
at least
has.
3.
And Mahershala, by the way, like, not someone I come to for the eye candy, but he was looking great in this movie. Like, I don't think of it like he's not a movie hunk. He's like a respected actor.
Fair.
Do you disagree?
I've always thought he was a hunk. I loved him in House of Cards, and he was so sexy in that show. If you don't remember, a lot of us have blocked that show out of our memories because of a certain person. I can't remember who, but Mahershala Ali was the star of that show for me. To see him also like in an action film bearing his thick forearms, another person who I thought deserves to lose a shirt in this film.
Yeah, no, in this film, he absolutely was hot as heck. Like, this is the first time, I think, in a long time that I've thought of him as not like the male Judi Dench, but as like, Mahershala's hot. Something that, like, yeah, I'd lost touch with that over his serious roles and also his just absence from the screen for these last many years.
Yeah. Fair.
So, yeah, you can win an Oscar and be hot. Good for you, Mahershala.
Speaking of being hot, we have to talk about Manuel Garcia Rulfo.
Yeah.
Is Daddy, and who is Daddy? My God. His little mustache is third billed beside Johnny and the glasses. And I was as wet as he was from the moment he appeared on our screen.
He's a gorgeous, handsome man. The only other thing I know him from is The Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix, which is a very watchable lawyer procedural. And he's sexy as heck in that, but he's playing sexy in that. He's playing a guy whose confidence and charm helps him win cases. Whereas here, he's the dad. He's the dad of the young, hot, of the girl who is dating the young, hot guy who looks like he's from the Outer Banks. Like, you're supposed to, like, the young audience is like supposed to be crushing on this boy, but then there's Daddy, and he's not trying to be sexy in this, and he is so sexy.
And oh my God, he's so sexy.
And like,
he's so sexy in this.
He would be enough. Like, if this was the only hot guy in the movie, it would be enough hot guy. Because also he hasn't been front and center in the publicity. Like, they've kept his powder dry, which he does not do in the movie. So yeah, he's great. I hope that we see much more of Manuel Garcia Rulfo in hot daddy roles with his mustache.
Yes, me too. He was a real surprise, a real delight. I haven't seen I think more than one episode of The Lincoln Lawyer, so I might have to go back and check it out.
Yeah, it's a fun show. Rupert Friend as evil industrialist has a face that is basically handsome and that is structurally very close to Jonathan Bailey's face, which I think was a bit of a misstep. But like, there's certainly the way he's playing this role, there is no warmth, only diabolical intent. So hard to find him attractive, I thought, though I have thought he was gorgeous in other things.
What do I know Rupert Friend from? I know the name.
He's
been in things that I've seen.
He's been in a ton of things. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Usually playing men who are like too handsome and therefore not to be trusted.
Well, case in point, this film. Another hottie in this film, Ed Skrein, who played Dario Naharis in Game of Thrones, one of the two Dario Naharis. I think the prettier of the two, personally. Okay. He's in this for what? 10 minutes. He's obvious dino fodder from the moment he's introduced, but he does get to swing around a boat shirtless for most of that, and that's fine. That's fine.
Is he shirtless or is his shirt just very tight? I mean...
I felt like he was shirtless, but...
I think his shirt was on. It was just plastered to his body so that his nipples were poking through like bullets.
I do remember his nipples. That must be it.
Yeah, I don't think he's shirtless in this movie. He just really gives the impression of shirtlessness because he is so ripped.
No one's shirtless in this film?
No one. It must be a children's movie.
Must be a children's movie.
So, yeah, this movie has got a lot of eye candy going for it. And then there is Jonny Bailey just being his usual charming, sexy chemistry with everyone's self. Like, were his character and ScarJo experiencing some sort of frisson? I can't say they weren't, but I can't say that they were.
Yeah.
Like, they don't come even close to kissing, but like they do build a rapport through the movie. And it's Jonny Bailey. Like, he has chemistry. He just exudes chemistry. I wish he had spent more time on screen with Sexy Daddy, because we would all have drowned. Like, that's such a wasted opportunity that we didn't get to see those two characters together.
I don't think they talked for more than 2 minutes.
No, and in a room full of people, including children. I mean, that's just not going to work. But yeah, Jonny Bailey, great. He is playing a sort of more feminine role in the story. He is more of the sort of the girl scientist role that you would expect from other movies. And he's great in that place. Like, he doesn't need to prove anything. Like, the fact that this is a gay actor, I think actually really helps him to not be like trying to prove himself in this role. Like, it actually helps him sit very comfortably in second place behind Scarlett Johansson in a way that I think a lot of male actors would not be as convincing doing.
Agreed. The last boy that we need to talk about is the boy, David Iacono, who grew on me as comic relief. I went from wanting to kill him to just wanting to maim him.
I never stopped wanting to kill Xavier, the boyfriend character, but I never thought he would actually die, but I really enjoyed imagining ways for him to die throughout the movie. And yeah, like, they teased us.
I mean, some of the funniest moments were when he was about to, so...
Yes. Yeah. He was repellent. It's the weed, Shane. Weed is an evil drug, and
it's a killer.
It's
a killer.
Yeah. Turns you into an irresponsible, sleepy, tousle-headed teen. By the way, the relationship between his hair and water, that's one of the most complex and rounded relationships in the movie.
I mean, this movie takes place in the future where science has grown leaps and bounds. The hair technology that exists in whatever year this is.
His hair is like a different style and texture in every sequence, I think. Phenomenal work, whatever he was doing with his product.
Let's talk about the music, and I don't know how else to say this, but it's Jurassic Park. So what do you expect?
It's Jurassic Park. Yeah, like I have very little to say about the music, because it's the old score is the best score. Like, the two things of note, I will say, Jonathan Bailey plays clarinet. We know this from social media now. Jonathan Bailey played his own character's clarinet solo at some point in the movie. I don't know when. I assume at some point. Oh, you've not seen this social media stuff?
No.
Jonny Bailey.
Oh my God.
Jonny Bailey went along to Abbey Road to watch them record the score for this movie. And the first time he went along, he saw that there was a clarinetist, and he said, "Oh, I used to play clarinet." And the Alexandra Desplat said, "Bring it next time." So he brought it next time, and after some coaxing, got up and recorded a clarinet solo that is
coaxing.
On. Yeah, I mean, it's Jonathan Bailey,
Gay.
so you know that he was like, "What? No, I could, no, I." But
no.
Well, maybe.
I couldn't possibly.
So there is footage of him playing the clarinet and being like giddy as a schoolboy afterwards. I mean, he's so adorable and so talented.
Adorable.
And so, yes, he's on the soundtrack. But could I pinpoint where? No, I could not.
But he is getting double credit, so he probably made more money by playing the clarinet on the soundtrack to his own film. Great, good for him. He's also a businessman. So yeah, the soundtrack is all the hits plus some John Williams inspired bombast. There's nothing else to say about the music, right?
Not really.
And there's a Jaws theme, essentially. Yeah. Yeah, it did.
Another area that there won't be a great deal to talk about is the fashion.
Okay, yeah, it was pretty rough. Like, I rolled up my sleeves as much as we see rolled up sleeves in this film, which is to say, it ain't happening. There's some forearm in this film, and that's about it.
ScarJo doesn't have sleeves.
ScarJo doesn't have sleeves, and she rocks it. She rocks a tank top and harness throughout most of the film. Yep. Amen. We've got Johnny's slutty little glasses, as mentioned before, the social media I am familiar with. But then there's Daddy Delgado, who gets to wear
Did you sneak a look at
shorts.
My notes?
No, I didn't. This is coming from me. Andrew, it was the only piece of fashion to note. Of course I was going to mention the short shorts. They were important. They were a character.
Like they were straight man shorts. Like they were still like a 7-inch inseam, I would have said, but they were above the knee.
They were above the knee.
They were a beautiful blue, and they were tight and wet. And yes, we celebrate.
Yeah.
We've not been one of those things in a while. I can cut that if you like.
No, it stays. And I mean, that's all I have for fashion. Should we talk about the queerness in this film?
I mean, segueing into it, I will say, if you're going to put Jonny Bailey in a harness, like, give me some shots, you know? Cinematographer, know your angles.
Why
the queerness.
He didn't take off his shirt and reveal his tank top so he could put on a harness. And he didn't fight for that. Jonny Bailey, we need to get you into a leather club. So Jonny Bailey's it, right? This movie isn't particularly queer. The queerest thing is that he isn't forced to fall in love with ScarJo as a plot device.
Yeah. I mean, he does have chemistry with everyone, and that's sort of inherently queer, but he doesn't get to spend a lot of time with Ruben, and he doesn't get to spend a lot of, like, there's this brief scene where he and Ed Skrein's character, Bobby, are, like, growling at each other, and it was good. Like, that moment, I was like, I could write the fan fiction, but Bobby's not around for very much longer. And that was a great shame, because I would really have enjoyed watching those two, shall we say, bounce off of each other.
Yes.
The other queer things, like, are all dinosaurs lesbians in Jurassic Park? I'm not sure where that stands at this point. Possibly, possibly not. But we do get like a lovely lovemaking scene between two dinosaurs that I'm going to assume were both female. So that's something.
I mean, I'm going to consider the first film as the only source of canon. And so, yes, all dinosaurs are female and therefore sapphic.
Great. The baby dinosaurs are a product of sapphic love. And yes, ScarJo is the gun boy and J-Bay is the nerd girl. Like, that's queer. But it's not.
And Mahershala Ali, the grieving mother.
Yes. Yeah. There's some gender play, shall we say, going on, but nothing explicitly queer. But also, like, Jonny Bailey's character doesn't get established as straight either. Like, I was hoping in the museum scene he'd be like, my boyfriend is saying I should quit this job or something. Just throw it in there. Take it out for China. Whatever you have to do. Take it out for Tennessee. But throw it to the rest of us. But he's not
like
not
the
gay.
Q, the serving of the Q bit on No Time to Die. It's like, just acknowledge what we already know.
Yeah. Like, Jonny Bailey can play straight, like he does in Bridgerton. He has many times before.
Famously. Yeah.
He's very good at, like, because, again, he exudes chemistry and because women want him almost as much as all men want him, I believe. And so, yeah, he's absolutely convincing as a straight man if he needs to be. But I didn't feel he was playing this role particularly as a straight man. Like, especially in that museum scene, there were moments of just his sort of nerdy glee. And his nerdy intensity felt like he was being himself to a degree.
He was a pleasure to have in class, absolutely.
A pleasure, yes. Best friend with his paleontology teacher, which was Dr. Alan Grant, created by Michael Crichton. So there you go.
There we go. It all comes full circle, baby.
It all works. But yeah, no canon queerness here.
No. Anything else you wanted to talk about before we score this film?
Nina, is she a lesbian? Or just a butch? We don't know, is the answer to that question.
We don't know. That's the obvious answer. But you know what? Headcanon, sure, everyone's gay.
And everyone's gay. Mahershala's ex is her husband, of course.
Yes. Their adopted dead son.
Yeah. All right, let's do it. Let's score this thing.
All right, what are you going to give this movie? Well, I guess I should explain. We give this film out of 10 stars, up to 5 points for the film, and then bonus points for women, boys, music, fashion, and queerness, all the categories we just talked about. So, Andrew, out of 5, what are you giving the plot of this film or the feeling this film gave you?
I had a great time. I really like this film and would encourage people to go see it. I will watch this again when it's on streaming, but it's a 3 out of 5. Like, it's a good, solid film. It's not setting anything alight. It's not setting new standards. And it's not better than it needs to be. It's exactly where it needs to be. And that's a 3 out of 5 in my head.
Yeah, if it were better than the original, then it might get a bit more from me as well. I'm going to say that this is a 3 out of 5 as well. How about a point for the women? Is it getting that bonus point for you?
It's in that tricky space where we're always reluctant to give a bonus if the representation is just one character. And here it really is about ScarJo. But I mean, the girls, the daughters, while not hugely fleshed out characters, also do not take away. They are not a disservice to women in the way that women in movies written by men so often are. Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? Right? But it's like there's nothing to detract from, like the message that ScarJo is giving us. Everything else is in support of that message. There's the women are not the weak link. The women are not being, in fact, the strongest link in the chain in this whole movie is ScarJo's character. I'm gonna give it the point, but there's that proviso that 2 women would be amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Any one of the men that were in this film could have been a woman.
Yes.
But I am also going to give it the point because, I mean, it's like you said at the beginning, the fact that this is a movie about a woman trying to find her purpose, that's pretty fucking cool for a Jurassic Park film. Do the boys earn a point in your books, Andrew? I think I know the answer.
It's the easiest bonus point I've ever given.
Yeah,
Jonny Bailey
absolutely.
in the movie pretty much guarantees that it gets a point, but Ruben, Bobby, this is a delightful movie to watch.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, and then there's the music. The simple John Williams music. I don't even think he did this soundtrack. He just inspired this soundtrack like Michael Crichton inspired Jurassic Park.
Alexandre Desplat is the credited, whatever that job is called.
Composer.
And we do get Benny King's Stand By Me, which is always a great classic to hear.
True. One of the most terrifying parts of this film.
Yes. Benny King augurs death in this movie. I feel like because it doesn't add anything, I'm going to say I'm not going to give it the music point, but I think it's very good score. I just don't feel like I'm inspired. So I'm going to withhold this one.
Yeah, I got to say I feel the same way. A soundtrack getting the point for me means that I would listen to it at least once on Spotify without the film being part of the equation. I'm not going to give it to the point. I don't plan on listening to this soundtrack. And then there's the fashion. Oh my God. This movie's going to end up being rated so low just because of our metric, which kind of hinders things from excelling. Yeah.
It means that we're going to end up rating this film the same as the critics did, even though we liked the film and the critics did not.
This is exactly what happened.
This is what happens. But you know what? This film gave us Slutty Little Glasses. It gave us an actual fashion moment. There is no fashion in this movie, but yet somehow Slutty Little Glasses are not only a trend of the summer, part of the hot nerd boy summer that we're edging into.
Which is so much better than hot rat boy summer, honest to God.
It is a real product. You can buy the Loomis, which is those frames with rose frames, and the money from the sale of those glasses, I think it's called Cubit, is the store. Yes, the sale goes to dinosaurs. No, it goes to the Shameless Fund, Jonny Bailey's charity, to help queer people around the world. So the fact that those glasses, for me.
That's all you needed to say.
Yeah, the glasses are a moment, and so even though this is technically an abysmal fashion movie, it's one of the most, it's a movie with a real impact. There you go.
An actual real world impact for the smallest item on screen. I love it. And then, does this film get a point for queerness? And does that mean it gets a point for having a queer actor in it? Does it get a point for anything else? I mean,
for not actively going against queer inclusion?
Yeah. In a time when we're trying to murder us again? God.
In a sense, a queer actor like Jonny Bailey being the lead in a big summer blockbuster is a huge deal. If he were playing a queer character, it would be a huger deal. But it's still, for some reason, phenomenally rare to see an actor who is as out and proud as Jonny Bailey given the lead male role in a movie this big, and to see that movie do well. We've only got the first in as we record this, but the projections are that this movie is going to do very well. So I applaud the moment. I'm not going to give it the point though for that.
Really edged me.
I don't think it's enough because it's not on the screen.
Yeah, I think you're right. If it's not on the screen, then I mean, it's not as bad as LeFou. I will always that is always going to be the measurement for me. If you tell me that there's going to be a queer character and then the queer character doesn't mention their queerness and doesn't act on their queerness in any way, then that's a penalty for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he just exists as a person in this film. There is no explicit queerness to it. Who may be queer. It can't get a point. I will say this movie doesn't deserve any penalties. So
no.
It sails smoothly through on that one.
So we are combined giving it a 6 out of 10, which is fine, actually, given how janky our system is by design.
Yeah, I'm fine with a 6 out of 10, honestly. But I will also caveat that with go and see this film. Give these people more money. It was a truly delightful experience. Being with friends, seeing a movie like this on a big screen. The sound was amazing. The visuals were great. You don't need to see it in 3D, but it is truly like a fun, and go have fun. The world is burning, damn it.
Yeah, I wish we could have not seen it in 3D. The only theaters that were showing it, the only screens that were showing it near us, not in 3D, were VIP. So the screens were small and the tickets were just as expensive. And it's like, please just let me watch a movie on a big screen. Yeah. That's all I really want. And the 3D at some points did like make the special effects look like Ray Harryhausen stop motion, which I love when that's what they're going for. Like, don't get me wrong, I love a stop motion effect, but this was not meant to look like that. And when you get the 3D glasses on, suddenly it's like dinosaurs doing this. I don't know. It was not helping.
And you can't tilt your head to the side ever, because then your eyes go all out of whack. And not that I'm sitting there watching a movie like this, but every time Jonny Bailey came on screen, I did do this. And Jonny it threw me off every time. Bailey's screaming for his life.
Oh.
Sweet baby.
The takeaway is more Jonny Bailey in everything, please.
Agreed, and less 3D. Do you have a favorite slutty little dinosaur? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please click the like button and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and kiss, kiss.
Bang, bang.
If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button and subscribe to this channel. You can follow Kiss Kiss Bang Bang on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd at KKBBpod, or email us at kisskissbangbangpod@gmail.com.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is recorded in Toronto on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples.